What drivers think of the new 2022 F1 cars? The 2022 Formula One season brings a massive revolution in the way cars are designed and their specifications. The 2022 rule changes are the biggest changes coming to the sport since the 2014 change to hybrid engines. These rule changes bring new cars, but what do the people who will actually drive the new cars think? What are the new rule changes? The rule changes are mainly centered around the idea to promote better racing and competition on and off the track. The new car should have better downforce when following close behind other cars, as well as bigger tires designed to reduce overheating. The front and rear wing designs have been changed to much more rounded edges, so it means Formula One will look very different in 2022. There are certainly rule changes that drivers will definitely like, with the FIA putting an emphasis on safety in designing the new cars. The cars will have a stronger chassis, and Romain Grosjean's crash in Bahrain in 2020 has pushed F1 to make the power unit separate from the chassis, so that the fuel tank is not exposed in the event of a crash. These changes will be the ones that are liked throughout the F1 grid. How will these changes affect the cars? It is very likely that the extra downforce and heavier cars will likely lead to an increase in lap times, with some estimations saying the 2022 cars will be 5 seconds slower than the 2021 cars. 5 seconds may not sound like a lot, but 5 seconds is an age in Formula One, with the grid usually separated by around 3 seconds. You would imagine this will not be something that the drivers will support. But what many of the drivers will like is that the rule changes seem to be focused on encouraging more overtaking. The rule changes mean that it will be a lot easier for Formula One cars to follow each other, with more of the downforce being focused on the Venturi tunnels underneath the car. It is another big change for drivers to get used to, but one they will enjoy. What do the drivers think of the new cars? One of the main patterns that has emerged since the unveiling of the 2022 cars at Silverstone last year was that drivers will need to make a big adjustment in their driving style. McLaren driver Lando Norris has been one of the most vocal about this, saying, "I don't think it'll be nice to drive in a way. I think it'll be a little bit more on the limit in terms of pushing and so on." Norris goes on to compare the cars to F2, saying, "A little, but like F2 in a way. I think where you see more fighting the car and stuff." Considering Formula One is looking to improve competitiveness and overtaking, these quotes will not be something Formula One will want to hear. Norris doubled down on his criticisms on the new cars at the start of this year, with Norris claiming that drivers will need to change their driving styles to suit the new cars. Norris made a very big claim about himself and his competition, saying, "No one's driving style today is probably going to be one that you can just jump into next year and do exactly the same. You will have to change a little bit." It is not the most surprising quotes coming from Norris. These are easily the biggest rule changes that the young Brit has seen since entering Formula One in 2019, and it will be a big adjustment for a lot of drivers. But not all drivers share the same view as Norris. Some of the drivers have been able to drive the 2022 cars on the simulators. Some of them have agreed with Norris, saying that the cars feel a lot more on the edge than the current cars. Valtteri Bottas is someone who has tried out the 2022 car on the Mercedes and Alfa Romeo simulators, so Bottas has a pretty good idea on how the 2022 cars feel. Bottas seems to have a pretty different view to Lando Norris. Bottas has said the new cars don't feel massively different to the 2021 F1 cars. When referencing the old Mercedes simulator and the new Alfa Romeo simulator with the 2022 cars, Bottas said, "But the overall feeling, at least in the sim, wasn't that dissimilar in either of the simulators." While Bottas and Norris have gone into detail on their feeling, the championship rivals of Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton have not spoken much about their feelings on the 2022 car. When the car was unveiled in July of last year, Verstappen said, "It is very different to what we are used to." Verstappen also highlighted the reason for the changes in the cars, saying, "The most important is that we improve racing, that we can race closer. And if this is the way forward, of course I'm for that." Hamilton has been a little more reserved, agreeing with Norris that the new cars will take a little bit to get used to. The appearance of the cars has also gotten the attention of a lot of the drivers. Australian McLaren driver Daniel Ricciardo says he thinks the car looks similar to the 2008 cars. an era which is best known for some tricky aerodynamics. So maybe not exactly what Formula One wants to compare itself to, but good looks is still a positive. The good appearance was also the thoughts of both Ferrari drivers. So it seems that a lot of the grid have a pretty similar opinion on the new 2022 car. The consensus is that the car is very aesthetically pleasing and will look good on the grid. But the drivers all believe that there will be big changes to the driving style for the new cars. It seems like testing in March will tell us a lot more about what the drivers think of the new 2022 cars. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, a like and subscribe would be massively appreciated. Until next time, bye-bye.